Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Sayudha. I'm from T3G. Today I'm gonna present it or explain you about the functional and non-functional testing. Before we go to the main of the functional and non-functional testing explanation, let us see the types of testing. There are three types of testing. First is functional, second non-functional, and third is maintenance. About the functional testing, there's an example like unit testing, integration testing, smoke or safety, and etc. For the non-functional, there is a performance, endurance, load, volume, scalability, and etc. And for the maintenance, there is a regression and maintenance. And then we go to the functional testing. What is the functional testing? For the functional testing is a type of software testing that validates the software system against the functional requirement or specification. The purpose or the main idea for the functional test is to test each function of the software application. That's providing like input or verifying output against the functional requirements. Functional testing mainly involves the black box testing. It's not concerned about the source code of the application. And then this functional testing is checks the user interface, API, database, security, client server, and other functionality of the application under the test. So we like test for the user itself. And then what we do the test in, the first is mainline function. Mainline function is the testing the main function of an application. So we test what is the purpose of this application. Maybe like Gojek or Grab. The main function is we get the driver, just like that. And then the basic usability. The basic usability is for the basic usability testing of the system. It checks that the user can freely navigate through the scene without any difficulty. So it's like the user interface and user experience. So we as a tester check the navigability of this application. And then for the accessibility is to check the accessibility of the system for the user. And then the error condition, we check the error of condition. Is if we get the error, it's display the same message or the different message, or we what is the error of this application. And then for the functional test, we identify the input of data of the test data. And then about the first one, we understand the software engineering requirement first, because the functional test is based on the software engineering requirements or these application requirements. And then we identify the test data, and then we compute the expected outcomes with the selected input values, or we the outcomes is same as we expected. And then we execute the test cases. What is the test cases? And then we comparison the actual and computed expected result. Is it the same or not? That's that's the main explanation for the functional testing. And then for the non-functional testing, what is that? What is the non-functional testing? The non-functional testing is software testing that check non-functional aspects like the performance, usability, reliability, and etc. of a software application itself. And it's the testing designed to readiness of a system as per non-functional parameters that are never addressed by functional testing, that not never in the software requirements. And then non-functional testing is equally important as functional testing and affect the client simulation. For an excellent example of the non-functional test is we can check how many people that can access or log in into data software. So we can check that for the how many people, we can check that the functional of the testing and the effects of the client satisfaction. Okay, and then we can see the what is the objectives of the non-functional testing. The objective is we non-functional testing, it increase the usability, efficiency, maintainability, and probability of the portability of the product. For examples like before, if we can check how many user can log in, so if we can increase it, why not, just like that. And then we can help to reduce production rate and cost associated with non-functional aspect of the product, so we can minimize the error, and then we can affect the satisfaction of the client, and then we can optimize the product is installed, set up, executes, and manage and monitor it perfectly. And then we collect and produce the measurement of metric and internal research and developments, and then we can improve and enhance the knowledge of the product behavior and technologies in use. So for the objective of non-functional testing, the main objective is we can improve the usability of this application, so we can uh, minimize the risk of this product itself. And then what is the characteristic? It's this non-functional testing should be measurable, so there is no like no plus like characteristic like good, better, best, etc. So we can like quantitative data that we can get from this non-functional testing, and then we can get the exact numbers are likely to be known, the star requirement process, so we can know like the maximum of the members that can log in. And then we can important to prioritize the requirements, so we can improve the requirements, and then we can ensure the quality attributes and defined correctly in software engineering. So and then we can for the parameters of non-functional testing is what is security. In this security, we can define how a system is safe against a deliberate and sudden attack internal and external sources. In this, we can test via security testing, and then for reliability, as we can extend to which any software continuously performs the specified function without failure. So we can do the check of this function of the software is continuously perform perfectly without any error. And for the survivability, we can check that the software system continues to function and recover in itself in case of system failure. So if the software of the application there is a error in that, and then the software itself it can recover itself. For example, it's like the maybe no it like the internet error or what. So if there internet error for the software, it can recover from that system failure. And then the availability is for the parameter that determines the degree to which user can depend on the system during its operation. uh, we can check it at stability testing. And then for the usability, it's it is which is the user can learn, operate, and prepare the input outputs that interaction with a system. We can check it by usability testing. In this usability, the user can easily operate or prepare the inputs, or we can use this application easily. This is from the usability testing. So the user experience is not hard or is not confused for the user itself. And then the parameter, and the next parameter here is scalability. The scalability is like the terms of the in which any software application can expand its process capacity to meet an increase in demand. So it's like the maximum numbers of the user itself. And then the scalability test. The scalability is can be tested by scalability testing. And then the interoperability. In the interoperability is like that checks the software system interface with the of other software system. So it's like comparing if one and another software interface, which one is the better. It can be checked by interoperability testing. And then the efficiency is like to extend to which any software system can handle capacity, quantity, and response time. So we can get this application is efficiency. And then uh, are this software is very efficient for the user, or it make the user it's more difficult to do it. And then about the flexibility, the flexibility is referred to is the which application can work in different hardware and software configuration. So the flexibility is like the RAM, CPU requirements, or the requirements of the application. And then the portability, is like the flexibility of the software to transfer from its current hardware or software environment. And for reusability, the reusability is like the refers to portion of the software can be converted for a use in another application. Uh, in this type of testing, there is a many. Actually, there is a many types of testing. There's more than 100 type of testing, but we can separate it become the functional and non-functional testing. And then what is the difference or between functional testing and non-functional testing? Uh, for the functional testing, it's performed using the functional specification provided by client and the system again the functional requirements. But the non-functional testing it just checks the performance, reliability, scalability, and etc. and etc. And then the functional testing it's executed first, but the non-functional testing should be performed after the functional testing. And then the functional testing it's can be manual or automatic, manual testing or automatic. And but the non-functional it's using tools it's more effective. The functional testing is like business requirements are inputs of the functional testing, but like the non-functional testing like performance like speed scalability is input to non-functional testing. But the functional and then the functional testing is describe what is the product does, but the non-functional testing it's describe how good this application works. The non-functional testing is easy to do the manual testing, but non-functional testing is easier with tools. It's very hard to do with manual testing. uh, so that's my explanation about functional and non-functional testing. I hope that you are understand about this different about functional and non-functional testing. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you.